Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Final Countdown. It's your guy, MP. We are live from the Gorilla Cross Studios in beautiful downtown Las Vegas. As always, joined by my compadre, my friend, that guy who is very Texan.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah, and as he said, he is Texan as, that's it. Love that shirt there.
Very Texan.
Very
and
Texan.
Last show, very handsome.
And the very handsome and very Texan,
Yes.
Jeremy Long, J Long, if you're asking. Show's brought to you by Mossberg Injury Lawyers. From accidents to injuries, workers' comp, and even wrongful death, Mossberg Injury Lawyers are the #1 legal team in Nevada. Give them a call today at 702-222-4555. That's Mossberg Injury Lawyers, 702-222-4555. And we'd love for you to give us a shout out, reach out, ask us some questions. That phone number 702-608-3259. Chime in, and like I said, always love to hear from you. So, Jeremy, how's it been going?
Man, good. It's cold. It's cold in Vegas.
That's
why you look like a homeless person, and that's why I actually have a jacket.
I was going to ask you about this. But is Dan wearing a jacket? That's all I want to know. Is Dan Green wearing a jacket? Those are the questions.
I don't know. I don't think he was even there. I think he froze to death on a bench press.
That's you Texans.
Yeah.
As you forget. Yeah. So, no, it is cold, people. My God, I was on the Strip the other day, and just watching people who came here with the thoughts of it being 70 or maybe even 80 degrees. They're still pretending like it's warm. Like, no, it's better than at home. Like
when tourists think they get a good deal on tickets, they're like, oh man, these tickets to Vegas are only $40.
Yeah.
And then they get here and they're like, oh my God, it actually gets cold here.
No, Vegas is 30 degrees is different from my 30 degrees where I'm from. Like, that's what it is. Yeah, that's it. Oh man, let's get this thing kicked off with a little barbershop chop. Okay, we ready for the intro. Preparation.
Hey, this is our intro.
I blame it all on iTunes.
This is the intro.
When
we say barbershop talk, this is what we mean.
This is what we mean. It's us saying the intro.
Everything gets quiet, and people think they lost connection if they watch the show.
They're tapping the screen.
And then it comes in, and then we're like, okay,
I have to test that thing.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Man, last night, history in the making. History in the making, unlike Ben Simmons' shot last week. Anyway.
Ben Simmons.
Duke goes down. Stephen F. Austin University took him down. Took him in overtime. As I was complaining last week, all these Dukies that go there thinking that they're destined, thinking they're the #1, they overlook the team. And the one thing you can never do in any sport is overlook an opponent. And they overlooked SFA and went down, man.
And we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We talk about the teams that do take down #1 teams. What do they have in them? They don't blink. They stand nose to nose with them. They're like, let's go. And you saw that last night. SFA fell into foul trouble. They had times where they were down a bit, but they were never out. They kept coming back. Duke would hit a 3 and muscle them inside. And you could see the disrespect that Duke players were showing SFA. They were elbowing them out of the way. I play for Duke. But you know what? The Lumberjacks from SFA, Axum guys, they said, you know what? Nah. We're going to take it. I got a number of friends and family that went to SFA. I spent a number of times at SFA for different competitions and different sporting events and everything. So all my peoples back home are really happy, really proud of SFA, the Lumberjacks.
Well, before we move on any further, I want to know what these competitions were if they were not sporting events.
Oh, I was in theater.
Oh, my God.
Believe it or not, I was in theater. And debate.
See, I knew there was something behind that.
I was made for radio.
I knew there was something behind
this. I'm
this.
not pretty enough for movies.
No. I could just see you Pavarotting your ass out there. Just getting it in there.
Yeah, Pavarotti. That's where the beard came from.
No. So, they took it down. They disrespected SFA. They came back. And the one thing I always believe in is those teams, those mid-majors and even those lower majors, when they get the opportunity to take somebody down like this, as you said, they don't blink. They don't. They smell the blood. They know this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment that they can tell their kids forever. And I mean forever. I mean, in 15 years, there hasn't been a team that has taken down such a big Goliath. And then, the fact that I dislike Duke, disdain Duke, hey, it only makes it a little bit better for me. Nothing personal, not at all.
It snaps a 150-game winning streak for Duke versus non-conference foes at Cameron Indoor Stadium, a streak that goes back 20 years.
Yeah, no.
So SFA, hats off to them. Now you're looking at guys that, let's be realistic.
No.
Most of the guys on that team
Accountants
are never going to play in the NBA. They have no dreams of it. But to go there, do that to the number one team, hang your hat on that. Maybe that number one upset right there is enough to, if you have a so-so season, to get you into the March Madness playoff bracket. Maybe that's enough to do that for SFA.
Right.
If they have a good showing. And, it could mean a lot more down the road.
It's going to be interesting to see how this win propels them for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
If this is going to be something that they can use just to catapult them with the emotion that they have, with the confidence, the drive that they have from here.
Yeah.
I mean, because at this point, you got to believe, you got to believe that there's not anyone that you can't take down.
Yeah.
And so hats off to them, and hopefully these kids can do something for the rest
You
of
come
the
off a loss at Rutgers, and no one blinks an eye, and then you go into Duke, into Cameron, and you say, you know what? I'm going to hit you in the mouth.
to get that money.
I know there's 80 y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you in the mouth, though. And he did it.
He did it.
man. And in saying that, hero of the game, Mr. Layup himself, as time expires, Nathan Bain. He has thousands of dollars donated to his GoFundMe cause for his home and the people in the Bahamas, their homes, because of Hurricane Dorian in September. People love to give to winners. And a guy, what clear eyesight and mind there to go and take the layup in, when most people, ourselves included, we were talking about before the show, we probably would have pulled up and tried a jump shot for fear of running out of time. He stayed cool, calm, and collected, laid it up, wins the game. Tens of thousands of dollars going into his GoFundMe. Now, looking at that, people would say, okay, he's an NCAA player. What happens with that money? So the NCAA has already released a statement saying that any funds raised, they get to keep, as long as it meets expenditures like for their homes and things like that. Any excess money that you might think about spending, or I'm going to go to a movie or something like that, they have to then donate that excess money to another charity. So that's how that works for the NCAA team. NCAA, we make up rules every day.
Every day.
But $11,500 to James Wiseman's parents. And all of a sudden, there's a big stink. There you go.
Let's just roll into that one right there, because that was a great segue. That was a great segue. You should go into the business.
I was in debate.
Yeah.
Championship level debate right here on TFC.
Comedy at his highest. He's just bringing it all back here. So James Wiseman, a player from Memphis, the Memphis Tigers, his suspension has been upheld by who?
The NCAA.
Imagine that. They keep all of the money. They're like that boss who just keeps saying, no. That money we took out of your check, we're not giving it back. But why?
It's the principle.
Yeah.
Don't you learn your lesson?
Yeah. Like, but you were wrong in the accounting department. We'll just keep it going. We'll put it in another check.
I am Lotus Broadcasting. Get out of here.
God, I hope I have a job when I come back. But yes, James Wiseman has been, and you know what? Who didn't think that this was going to happen? Like you said, the NCAA, they're not one to really back down from a fight. And when they do back down, it's usually after years of litigation. And this was just a scenario where I'm sure Mr. Wiseman wanted to get this off the table as soon as he can, so he can get back to playing ball and, keep focused on what he's trying to do. And that's be the number one draft pick come next June.
Yeah, really.
And Penny's like, me and little Penny, we just want to go out to the beach and, do our recruiting. That's what we do best. All this other stuff is just garbage.
Just let it go. I mean, Wiseman's going to get it back.
Yeah. And how much he's going to have to pay?
One and done. He's going to go back. Yeah, I mean, how can they track it? Like we were talking to Marcus Berg, and we'll talk to Marcus in a little bit, but Marcus Berg last week, I mean, how are they going to track, and how are they, more importantly, going to enforce that he pays this money to charity? Or they're making up rules as they go.
I think they have the magic 8-ball and a dartboard. One guy does the dartboard, the other one has the magic 8, and depending on the question.
Yep.
And it's just like,
I agree with that. I can see that.
Yeah.
A room full of old white men doing it.
You've never been wrong.
What does that say?
Since 1919. You know,
I like it.
there's a little box that glows when they
We
open
need
it
this
up.
one. We need an official TFC.
Man, what's going down in Dallas?
Jerry Jones finally
Jesus Christ.
warns.
He must have had
Jason
whiskey for his
Garrett.
coffee.
He
must have.
finally warns Jason, gives a public warning to Jason Garrett. Really upset that they go into New England, lose that very close game, and he finally, after, it's amazing that it's this loss. This is the
You
loss.
think?
You know, two playoff appearances in 10 years, whatever. That's okay. But this loss to the Patriots was the one that finally got
Which
Jerry
was
to
kind of
say-
understandable. It was a rainy game.
But then he went back and clarified and said, well, I'm not going to fire him during the season.
Oh, that's
It
even
would
worse.
be after the season,
That's
after
even
we're
worse.
eliminated from
Jesus.
playoff contention. So yeah, I mean, but it is something to take notice and set up because he's given his coach plenty of opportunity. You cannot say Jason Garrett did not have opportunity in Dallas, and that is his legacy. His legacy is being so conservative with the offensive playbook that you don't score any points. You know, he was afraid to put points on the board.
But that
So
Richie
he just-
Cunningham back there calling the plays now. What the hell?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Was the Fonz busy? You know, I mean,
I'm sorry, I threw that old reference
yeah, I
out
know.
there. It's
I
like,
got it. I
oh,
got Richie
whoa.
Cunningham. But, you know, I mean, the Fonz could hit Dak Prescott's arm and all of a sudden it'd work. You know, I don't know. But it hasn't really even been that, man. It's just the whole team from top to bottom. I mean, you have the parts. You have your quarterback. You have an elite running back. You have a good offensive line. You have a true number one wide receiver. You have an above average defense. This team is better than 6-5, but they're 6-5. And this isn't the first time that a Jason Garrett led team is being a tremendous letdown. So, hey, thanks for paying attention, Jerry. Welcome back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, who knows what we're going to talk about?
Let's talk some sports, baby.
Yeah, that's it. It's the final countdown. And welcome back to the final countdown. MP, Jeremy Long. We're live from Gorilla Cross Studios in downtown Las Vegas. The show is always brought to our friends over at Mossberg Injury Lawyers. Guys, if you're in an accident, especially you got this bad weather happening right now, it's the winter, it's windy, it's rainy, it may not even be your fault. And if it's your fault, that's when you're going to need them even more. Workman's comp and even wrongful death. Mossberg Injury Lawyers are the #1 legal team in Nevada. Call them today, 702-222-4555. And when you need them, they're going to help you the best. So
now let's look at this. Did you see Ohio State? Ohio State jumps to #1 in the college football rankings. They leapfrog LSU out of nowhere.
who runs that organization?
The NCAA.
Dun, dun, dun.
They leapfrog. So apparently the powers that be, the old white men in the committee, they got together and they said, we think Ohio State's 28-17 win over #6 ranked Penn State means more than LSU's absolute thrashing of Arkansas 56-20, which I do agree with, but leapfrogging, you know what, honestly, looking at this, if that's how the college football playoff ends, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but if you're LSU,
Well, let's go back a couple weeks.
Huh.
That thrashing that LSU gave to one Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, they went
Shouldn't-
Janet Jackson.
shouldn't that be something?
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
yeah, it's
What
every
the-
week. This week the defense is better on Ohio State, so we think I think maybe it could be.
The Magic 8 Ball?
It could be the Magic 8 Ball, and it could be the Ohio State fan base and coaches and front office and everyone else, the ones who started saying that the the college football playoffs are biased
For the SEC?
SEC.
Okay.
And started campaigning to Fox and ESPN and, people who pay the bills and saying, you need to stay away from our campus because you're just going to bias yourself to the SEC. And college football people might have went, hey, maybe we need to throw them a bone this week and make them number one. I'm not saying they're not a good team because they are, and they're undefeated. I'm just saying it's really weird for a team who didn't lose to lose the number one ranking.
Right.
Simply because the guys for the NCAA come out and they go, this week we think Ohio State's a better team. Okay.
It's one of those moments where it's better not to say anything. Less is more.
Yeah.
Because giving your reasoning behind it just makes everybody go,
yeah, don't make no sense.
What? What did he just say?
It's like, fellas, it's like this. I know there's guys listening to it. It's like this. Your girl catches you in a lie. And you, instead of just being quiet, and just taking it, whatever, you start tap dancing around and start making it. Well, baby, you gotta understand. Her number was in my phone because I needed a ride to the PetSmart. They had some ferrets that needed to be adopted, and there was an ice cream place. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
None. Yeah, no, but it doesn't. I mean,
really
the thing
doesn't.
it's going to be a trip watching how things play out this weekend. One, to see if Michigan can run with these guys because they had not Harbaugh. I mean, he has so many Achilles heels. So he just beat Michigan State, but it's a down Michigan State, so I don't think that it counts. Yeah. But if they somehow find a way to beat Ohio State this weekend,
it throws everything into chaos.
Yeah, I mean, so now
all of a sudden Alabama's back in.
Right. But how far would that loss to Michigan be? Because to me, if a Michigan team beats Ohio State, the credibility is just right out the door. I mean, and from that point, because now you're like, well, you lost to number 10. I mean, it wasn't, they beat you by 10 points. Jesus Christ. Then LSU.
LSU beats number 1.
Right.
And they fall 4 spots. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
You would think that a playoff would fix some of this stuff, and it's gotten even more head scratching. Yeah.
In talking about head scratching, the fact that I love football more here than I do in Michigan is just a crazy thing. And I think the main reason I love waking up early to football on Thanksgiving. I know it's the small things in the world that can make the biggest things. And waking up at 9 o'clock to watch pro football, to watch my beloved Detroit Lions, it's a beautiful thing. But my question to you is, I think we have a phone call. And I think it's our guy.
We'll take it in 1 second.
And we're going to go ahead. We're going to talk, as we always do, a little legalese. And I like saying the word legalese because I don't use it in my daily day unless I'm talking to this man and asking him if he's out there legalesing people. And that's with Mr. Mark Berg of the Legal Zone. Mark, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, man. And always have you to take us down the road of some great things, or I would say not great things, the things that are happening out here in the other side of sports. And one of the things that you brought to us, which was kind of, something we've been talking about for the last couple of years, and it's the HIPAA laws as far as disclosure in sports and how we shouldn't be disclosing these things in sports, but yet we do. And the players, they don't appreciate it. They have complaints. They can't have lawsuits because of the organizations they're in. So it's kind of screwed up out there, man.
Well, it's such an interesting dynamic. I mean, could you imagine in a regular workplace, someone coming and saying, "Oh, everyone, we just want to let you know Mike's pancreatitis is acting up today."
You mispronounced herpes.
People can already see that, right?
It's a cold sore.
Yeah, so we have an interesting situation with, say, Trent Williams of the Washington Redskins. He's really upset at the team. They kind of disclosed some stuff about, the team doctors didn't diagnose some cancerous growth on his head. And then he had other doctors outside of the team do it. And then information was being released about his health and his well-being and what's going on. I mean, at this point, as an attorney, Mark, what legal options does Trent Williams have? I know there's a collective bargaining agreement, but can he do anything outside of that, saying that his information was released without his consent?
Well, maybe from the informational standpoint, but I think his complaint or a lawsuit could potentially be more from the realm of medical malpractice. If he's trusting these doctors to diagnose him and to confirm whether or not something is cancerous, and they're not giving him the right advice, or what they should have probably done in this situation, since it was out of their area of expertise, they should have probably referred him out to a different specialist. That can be considered malpractice, and he could have a claim for malpractice, potentially, if his cancer were to come back or something else were to happen. Malpractice claims, generally you have to have some sort of concrete injury. So something would have had to have happened because he didn't get that medical advice. In this case, it sounds like everything went well and he's back to normal health, but he could say he had to have had a larger chunk of his skull taken out, or now he's got a deformity. So those doctors could potentially be on the hook for medical malpractice because they didn't diagnose the injury. And I think what happened here was Trent actually asked them to refer him to another doctor, and they didn't. Now, one of the problems that Trent may have in making his malpractice complaint is that what's the reasonable standard here? If you ask your doctor, that you should be referred out. You ask your doctor to make the referral, and the doctor does not. Should you then be responsible for going out and getting that opinion on your own? And I think that's where some of the complexities with the relationships these players have with their team doctors come into play. Are they allowed to go outside the team doctors?
Right.
Are they allowed to go out and get their own medical care? And a lot of players do. I know that a lot of teams frown upon it. A lot of teams want their players to stay internal, and I think that's what Trent was trying to do. Was, hey, I'm going to stay with these doctors. I'm going to trust them, and then kind of going along with what the team wanted. And ultimately, it cost him, potentially almost cost him his life. Fortunately, it did not.
Well, you said something in the beginning, and we're talking to Marcus Berg in the legal zone in the beginning of this, and the fact that it was out of their realm of expertise as far as the medical field is concerned. When he went to them, and I really don't know what the dialogue was that they had, but I'm sure it was a headache. I'm sure it was something that just wasn't right from a neurological point. And what they were probably looking for, and again, just seeing a concussion or something like that, they didn't see that. So in their world, they were probably going, oh, okay, you're good. And then I think what happens is now, like you were just saying right then, is that, it comes down to him saying, hey, that's where you should have gone to on your own and say, you know what? I don't think it's just that I'm not feeling good. I've had concussions before. Does that kind of make sense?
Well, my understanding in this situation is that there was actually a growth that Trent noticed. And I'm not sure if he had those headache symptoms or not at the beginning, but he informed the doctors about it, and they said, we don't think it's anything. And maybe their intent was to monitor it. And then at least a year later, maybe 2 years later, Trent came back and said, this is still bothering me. I think it's growing. And at that point, the doctors still didn't do anything about it. And that's where, the first time they miss it, maybe that's not malpractice. But the second time they miss it and then it turns out to be cancerous, I think that's where Trent has the real gripe or medical malpractice claim, potentially.
Man. And what a messy situation for everyone. He's already said, Trent's already said, hey, I'm basically playing for a different team next year. I don't like this. I don't like this team. I don't like these people. Screw you. Screw you. You're cool. Yeah. I'm out. And, we talk about it, medical malpractice on our level. It's as regular people work in offices and things like that. If you look at I guess you can guess the millions of dollars that are potentially on the line for NFL players and teams and things like that. What could a suit like that, what kind of numbers, just guesstimating out of your head, Mark, what kind of numbers could we see if that were the case, if he does do that?
Yeah, I mean, as is the case with all cases in medical malpractice, injury claims, all those kind of cases, it all depends on what your damages are. And, in this case, Trent had the possibility of losing his life. It didn't happen. Obviously, his case would be worth millions and millions of dollars had that happened. But, in this case, it's going to come down to, paying for the surgery that he needed, potentially, and, how he was inconvenienced, how he suffered, how he dealt with pain, how he had to deal with the emotional distress of finding out that he was living with this. I mean, that certainly got some value to that, this man's life flashed before his eyes. He was told this news and had to dwell on, oh my gosh, these doctors almost cost me my life by not diagnosing me.
Right.
I think that's worth some money. I mean, I don't know if it's somewhere $500,000, $1 million range. A lot of these cases, you never really find out the true value because they end up settling. A lot of it also depends on the laws where he would bring that lawsuit. If that's in Washington, D.C. or in Maryland, that's going to depend. Here in Nevada, you're capped at, I believe, $350,000 for your non-economic losses. So there's a lot of factors that come into this. I mean, if he can say that the reason he's not playing right now and the reason he's losing money on his contract is because of that growth and that diagnosis and that surgery, then that could really exponentially drive the value of his claim.
Well, Mark, but I know we've been talking about this, and not you and I directly, but just the HIPAA laws in sports. It's been something that's been discussed for years, at least in the stuff that I was reading this afternoon. We're talking since 2002, where people and players have just been trying to fight because of the things that have been told about their health. And they're like, no, I don't want my health disclosed. But when you look at something like this, what needs to happen? I mean, where's the advocacy? Where are the team spokespeople who are supposed to have the back of the players? So these things that aren't supposed to happen, is there something that can happen down the road? Are there? And like you said, when you said Washington, I was like, well, hell yeah. But that's like, oh, he's talking about the team. But I think this is something that should go to the Senate in front of Congress, because these guys they're at work, and some of the things that come out as we're talking here about Williams, I don't want people to know about.
Yeah, that's why these laws are in place. I think it definitely needs to happen. I'm baffled when I see team representatives coming up and talking about players' health conditions, especially conditions that have nothing to do with their performance on the field. It's one thing, and I know that there's reasons that the NFL has to disclose injuries, but teams are gaming the system all the time and talking about injuries that aren't there, telling players, talking about players that are questionable or doubtful when they're actually not. There's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on. But when you're talking about a player's health condition that has nothing to do with his performance on the field, I think that's completely irrelevant and has no place in sports or business or anywhere in the realm of this. But, ultimately, I think that players need to be their own advocates. I mean, the union should be too, but they need to tell the teams, you cannot release this information or you can release this information. I don't know if that does or does not happen within some organizations. I would like to think that it does. But I think that, this notion of being so freely spoken with players' health conditions is just gone a little too far.
You know what? And we're sitting here talking about players. I was looking at a stat from 2015 that 112 million healthcare records were compromised with information that was given out. And 111 million of these occurred across 10 different major organizations in the health industry. So it goes across not just sports, but everywhere. This should be happening. I mean,
it's rampant. I deal with it almost every day. Insurance companies share health information. One of my clients makes a claim, and they just worm right into a database, and all the insurance companies are sharing information with each other, and they're coming back at me saying, did you know your client had an injury claim on this date? Did you know they had something wrong with their back? Did you know? They have all the information. It's insane.
Man, so I don't. Yeah, I was looking at this one, the case with Jason Pierre-Paul. He sued the hospital where he had his surgery when his finger blew off, and he won. Against the hospital itself, because they just wanted to settle. The people who disclosed it, they probably thought this was their time to get on ESPN and disclosing something. And no, you're not supposed to do that, buddy. It's not your thing.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Hey, Mark, as always, we appreciate you. Where can everybody find you and Mr. Boyd?
Mossberg Injury Lawyers, 702-222-4555.
So you deep frying or just regular traditional turkey?
Yeah, we actually ordered one from Whole Foods. Going to go pick it up.
There you go. Don't work harder, work smarter.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I like.
That is the picture, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for taking time out of your day and your family. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
All
You
right.
too, man.
Whole Foods. Oh
Hey.
my God.
You see those meals they advertise all the time. It's like $60, and you get the turkey and the stuffing and all the dressings and everything else, man.
Yeah, man. Whole
Why-
Foods.
Why the
Steve
look, man.
Bezos.
And now they got the delivery. They deliver it right to your house. Why the hell would you do anything else?
Steven, you're getting us, man.
The last couple of years, we've actually gone out to eat for dinner.
You've been telling me that.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we live out here. All our family's back in Texas, so unless family's in town, there's no need to cook for 10 hours for me and kids who only want to eat McDonald's chicken nuggets anyway. So, I mean, why do it? Let's just go out to dinner and save a little time. And
Oh, man, I'm going to have a spread at the house. A little bit of everything.
Oh, I
a little bit of everything.
I know you.
All right. Hey, let's go ahead and take a break. And we come back. What the hell happened to Lamar Jackson, man? Did he find the ruby, the ring, the golden ticket? We're going to talk about it. It's the final countdown. And welcome back to the final countdown. MP, Jeremy Long. You know where we are. Downtown, beautiful downtown Las Vegas. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Tomorrow we're going to be breaking that bird, for vegetarians like Cassandra CC. We're going to be eating that tofu.
No,
And nothing wrong with
absolutely
tofu. Shoot.
I rebuke that.
As I tell my kids, I'm too long in the game. I can do better. But I can't go just push the chips in and just say, hey, let's just sizzle it up and then try to I refuse to have the Impossible Burger. And I asked my daughter about it. Like, is this the one? Is this the one I can go down this aisle and when I want a hamburger at night and I'm can I get in on it?
Yeah. Have you tried it? You haven't tried
I haven't tried it. Have you tried it?
Yeah.
What you think? And there we go. And there we go.
I'll tell you.
people.
Okay.
No,
So
no,
I
no.
had the Impossible Burger.
You
I didn't
can't tell
have.
me nothing.
I didn't have anything from Burger King or anything like that. There's actually, there's Vegas has a little mix of everything. They
Yeah.
have vegetarian places and vegan places, and they did have the Impossible Meat. And I tried the Impossible Meat on their kind of burger. I got about halfway through it, and there's just a bit of an aftertaste. For me, there was just a bit of an aftertaste, man. And I was like,
Because you knew there was something better.
yeah, but you know what? It might be psychological because I
Oh,
knew it wasn't a
snap.
real burger. I knew it wasn't. So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Well, you know what?
I threw it at the cook. I cursed my wife out for bringing me.
Well, maybe this is what Lamar Jackson is eating these days because,
Impossible
my God, the kid is just doing incredible things. And the Ravens, although they have 2 losses, we look at those 2 losses that they've taken. They were earlier on in the season, and even in the losses, he was still a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenon. And the fact that Michael Vick is in amazement just looking at him on a regular basis just lets you know that this man's out here just doing things that no one has seen, thought. I mean, just to watch him when he drops back for the in play,
Yeah.
and he starts running, and someone else like, "Oh, I got," and he's gone, and he's gone, and he's gone, and he just
TV has that effect where so everyone's kind of going the same speed, so it doesn't look that fast.
right.
And then you watch it back and you're like, my man, he's running 20 miles an hour up the sideline,
Yeah,
making defenders, world-class defenders,
world class.
like he's playing amongst Pee Wee League kids. And, the 32nd pick of the 2018 draft out of Louisville. We had no idea what to make of him.
No.
We knew he could score touchdowns.
Yeah.
And we knew, but we didn't know how effective that was going to translate
That arm.
into the NFL because we've had Michael Vick and we've had Cam Newton and guys like that, and Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb on a little bit of level back in the day, but never a guy with these combination of skills. Cam, big guy, could run wild when he threw the arm, but you're looking at Lamar Jackson is accurate. He's accurate, he's deadly, and he's getting it done with both his arm and his legs. It's incredible. He's rewriting what the modern quarterback is.
No, he's rewriting it. And, and another thing, we have to go out and give credit to Harbaugh. The fact that when he drafted him, or when they drafted him, he knew that he had something special. And he didn't just try to go round hole, square peg, try to make it work that way. He went out, he got a coach who was going to go ahead, an offensive coach, work with him, develop a system that was going to work with the pieces that they had, went out and got a stud of a running back in Mark Ingram. So their running game is phenomenal. And what they also do is that, when they do run the play with Jackson, you never know. I mean, is he, because he's just like a magician back there. Because you just want to bite. You're like, all right, we got to stop Ingram, because we know Ingram, he'll go out and he'll bust one for about 10 or 15.
And here's the maddening part. Okay, so you have this guy who's incredibly phenomenal. What an athlete. We know that now. Hindsight's 2020, I get it. But 31 other teams passed him up. And a lot of teams passed him up simply because of that whole, we have a quarterback. We have a quarterback. We got a quarterback signed to a lot of money, so we don't need another quarterback to develop or something. Do you think Cincinnati would go back right now, even though they have Andy Dalton, and go, let's take a look at this guy? Would Green Bay, would any of these teams? I know you have Aaron Rodgers, but what a wealth you would have to have Lamar Jackson back there too, to run some options or do all the things that Aaron Rodgers can't do. 2,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. His QB rating, the 81.9, is number 1 in the league. And he's going to rush for 1,000 yards.
So easily.
And he's already got 5, 6 touchdowns on the ground. And these are ESPN Sports Center highlights every single week. Now, how long can he keep this up? He's 6'2". They bill him at 6'2", 215 or so.
Yeah, he's rangy.
He's rangy.
He's still a rangy.
So
kid.
he's not as big as Cam Newton, and even Cam Newton's beat up. So how long can Lamar Jackson do? I guess that'll be the testament of his overall career. Russell Wilson's back there. He's a slight guy. A shade.
Russell doesn't get hit.
But Russell doesn't get hit.
He doesn't get hit. And you look at from last year with Jackson, he took more hits. Seems like he's playing a little smarter. He's running out of bounds, and he's going to the ground. He took a couple of hits the other night. Yeah. And, that I found unusual, that he was trying to prove something. Yeah. And like you're just saying, though, how many can he take? They have the prototype of a one-hit wonder standing right next to him in Robert Griffin. Yeah. So, so they know how it could go wrong and fast.
And offensive lines make all the difference.
Come on,
the
now.
Baltimore offensive line. It may not be the greatest offensive line of all time, but it's an above-average offensive line. Robert Griffin right there, who just ran for his life his entire time in Washington because Dan Snyder refused to bring in.
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
We're good. Yeah. All right, we're good. And he just got destroyed, man. And that knee was gone and everything else. Not the same guy. And PTSD for football players, for quarterbacks, is a real thing. David Carr. You know what I'm saying? You get the yips or whatever you want to call them, the Jimmy feet. You just like, you just throw the ball away. I don't want to get hit. Hell no. So hopefully they can keep it up. But it is phenomenal to watch what Lamar Jackson is doing every single week. And, between him and Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson.
That's okay.
Russell Wilson. Also Russell Westbrook. You're looking at, your potential MVP candidates right there.
Big game this weekend.
Yeah, really big game this weekend. It seems like
big game every week for Ravens.
It's that time in the year where it's a big game for almost every team with playoff aspirations and seeding aspirations and things like that. So, but he's writing his legacy right now, and it's really
he's looking
phenomenal.
Good on them streets.
He looks good on the streets.
Oh man, let's roll into some stuff on the streets for a little say what.
Say what?
Oh, stop it. Started right there. I'm about to cry. I didn't even know. So, if you were to come off an injury, NFL player, what do you think you would want to do? Would you want to go out and jump in your car and go 104 miles an hour right after you got out of concussion protocol?
Concussion protocol. I probably would recommend it. But, you know, I'm not a world-class athlete with millions of dollars.
Well, that's what happened with one Juju Smith-Schuster. All those names sounds like a law firm. The law firm of Juju Smith and Schuster. That's what he did coming out the gate. And then more importantly, he posted a video of it. Now, it's one thing to do it with your boys. It's another thing to post it as a video. Not a millennial, not a Gen Xer. I've done some crazy things. And I probably, you know what, if I was young, I'd have some videos. But if they're giving you, what, 10 million a year, no, I think you kind of flow and get into to the system. Oh my.
Even if you're feeling good, you're coming off concussion protocol. I mean, is the tale of Errol Spence not, I mean, didn't that just happen?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, maybe, you can't say because there was nothing involved in it as far as alcohol or things like that. But to live that fearlessly and recklessly, and then to tape it, to videotape it and put it out there, you're in the middle of the season, your team isn't doing that great, you know, and there's certainly room for improvement on your part, even though you are, you know, one of the better receivers in the game. There's still all this stuff to do when you're out there doing that. That comes down to immaturity.
You know what?
You know?
I bet you if he looked in his pocket of his favorite jacket, he'll find a chicken claw that Antonio Brown put in his pants. I bet if he looked in there.
They found a chicken claw. You know, I don't know why you would do this. You know, I'm not young anymore, so that part of me is left. But I don't know. Did she say, "Hey, my mama's not home. Come on over," or something like that? Because hop in the old station wagon and go 104.
Gonzalez twins. Just hit the road.
The Gina Carano with her sweet yams come over.
Oh man, you know I was over there looking for my picture, but you know, like Gina Carano.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh Jesus Christ!
My man, a quick story, Quan. You haven't heard this, and our audience hasn't heard this. We're at Muay Thai fights, at the lion fights. I have every once in a while at Tropicana with our good friends who run the operation. They invite us out, and we're all there having a good time. It's after the main event. And in attendance, there's a couple of celebrities, one of them being Gina Carano. And we see her during the show and everything. And we're sitting there afterwards, and I'm like, oh, Gina Carano's leaving. And Mike goes, who's Gina Carano? And I told him, and I showed him, he goes, oh, I remember her. He goes bolting up the theater aisle, pushing people out the way just to get a picture with this girl. She's halfway out, and he's like, can I please have your picture?
she was not happy. She was still in the front.
I think she was a couple of drinks in. She was with her boyfriend at the time.
And he was cool. I was like, hey, no offense to you, because I got to figure he knows something too. Like, I don't need any Muay Thai thrown at me.
He has a somewhat blurry picture of him and Gina Carano, and she doesn't look frightened at all. No. It's a great photo. It is a great photo.
Creepy old man.
Yeah. But she's taller than I thought she was going to be.
How tall is she?
I got to say about in the 5'9", 5'8" realm. Yeah, she wasn't. Yeah, you know, because sure she had some shoes on, but I was like, all right. But she was cool. Oh man, once I saw Deadpool, like fan.
A fan of Gina Carano and the Jams.
Yeah.
Recently, Canelo making more noise. Floyd Mayweather announced he was coming back in 2020 to do some fights.
More money out there.
I think you saw that. Canelo and his team were stopped. They were talking to the crew over at TMZ late one night when they started making fun and mocking Floyd Mayweather for coming back to fight and saying that, oh, you know, he's coming back to fight MMA. Guys, he doesn't want none of this smoke. Not owning up to the fact that Canelo lost.
Right. I'm looking
got taken to school by Floyd Mayweather a few years ago. Now, yes, it was a few years ago, and Canelo was, 23, 24 at the time.
Right, he was a younger fighter.
But they're like, hey, you wouldn't beat me now, guy. Well, yeah, Floyd's 42, 43
I'm
this year or something like that.
Yeah, I'm good. I beat you already.
Yeah, Floyd's
rear view mirror, baby.
Yeah.
Rear view mirror.
Scoreboard.
Scoreboard. I tell everybody, you cannot talk crap with a scoreboard. Oh, man, I just dunked on you. You do realize you're losing by 10.
Yeah. I'll put you on a poster.
Yeah.
I put an L on you, I guess. Right. I don't know.
How do you guys
that
rate?
That poster's going to say, dunked over him, and I lost to my team. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. But you know what? I think the funnier thing is that did they have a translator? Who was Canelo? I've never heard him speak English. So who was talking this trash?
But his team was. Here's the thing. I've heard Canelo speaks perfect English.
What the hell? Why does he have a translator?
Heard he or not, maybe not perfect English. He speaks English, so, but he chooses to only speak Spanish because of the fan base, because he's already got a hard enough time, and they Mexicano fan base wasn't the warmest reception for this.
Red.
Yeah, his red hair, and he's very light complected and stuff like that. He light skinned it.
Yeah.
So he's already got a hard enough time with the fan base, and so he doesn't want to alienate anyone by speaking English. But it made for a really. Did you see the DAZN fight? I mean, when he fought Sergey, and they did an interview with him and Chris Mannix, and Mannix was speaking to him in English, and he was answering in Spanish with subtitles, and they were going back, and I'm like,
he obviously understands you.
You obviously, oh yeah,
yeah. That's what I'm going with, man. Confusion.
Yeah,
confusion.
It is crazy, man.
Man, once you get to the playoffs, leading into the championships, you never know how much these guys receive, and especially when we're looking at the World Series. And when you hear how much these guys make, the Nationals, guys, let me let you know, the National players received $382,000 per player for their win. But, hey, let's look at this. The Astros got $256,000 each. What the hell? Yeah, no wonder some violence at the end. No wonder people are mad. The hell with this ring. I want my money.
I bet most people didn't realize that they get to split a pot of money at the end.
No.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the World
they got
Series
like
winners,
$10,000.
they get to split, and for the winners to get, of course, the bulk, the lion's share of it, but $382,000 per player for the win. This is for the series win. Now, of course, you're talking about guys who make tens of millions of dollars.
Right.
So what is $382,000? Donate it to me. Donate because we need turkey. We need stuff. We're desperately poor
need
here.
stuff.
But I mean, that's kind of crazy that the Astros would get $250,000 each. Yeah,
there's guys who played back in the day when we got $5,000 and a pat on the back and a coupon to Wendy's. What the hell is this?
It's
man?
not even free taco night at Jack in the Box.
No. Oh my God!
If he hits a layup, everyone gets tacos. That
they
promotion,
didn't get 100. Yes,
they hits the corner 3-pointer or something like that, and everyone gets tacos. That's like the only reason to show up to the UNLV games. Isn't that a thing? Don't they do that? Don't they do that promotion? No, they did at some point. I think so.
They're not
and I know, like Flurry, if he gets a shutout, right? They do Krispy Kreme donuts or a donut from Krispy Kreme or something like that. It's all kinds of food promotions, but that is. I'd rather have cash.
Jumping around real quick. Surprise, Sanchez gone.
Surprised? No.
Okay.
Surprised they did it in the middle of the season. A little bit.
At the middle. They have
Well,
one
I
more
mean,
game.
at the end of the season, but I mean, right before the Cannon game.
Yeah.
I have to figure that they fired him before the Nevada game because if he goes out there and won, that'd be more cause for maybe him to stick around.
Yeah.
But for a guy who brought so much attention and so much money into the program, they let him speak at the conference, which oftentimes isn't it. But I mean, they were going backwards as an organization. So,
well, as a team, they definitely were.
As a team, they were going backwards. So you gotta pull the plug. But who's gonna take that job, man? It's not a whole lot of money as far as college coaches go of bigger programs.
Well, you know what the push is? It's the facility in the stadium.
Well, that they have that now, so they should call it, instead of Fertitta, they should call it the Sanchez.
Yeah.
But the Sanchez. There you go.
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty crazy about. Not pretty crazy, but it's not out of left field. But there you go. Tony Sanchez gone from UNLV.
All right, let's get through this. Say what? Dante Wilder. Yeah, you saw that. The one-hit guy. He knocks people out with not combinations, just one punch. Well, with this mighty punch that he throws, Dante claims that he thinks he hits harder than one Michael Iron Man Tyson. Or Iron Mike. Yeah, no. There's no way. I got to say no.
Yeah,
and we need to let the past go. It's like the whole Jordan thing. Yeah, Jordan was Jordan. Now I'm the king.
Yeah.
And like, oh man.
I think Wilder was speaking to TMZ on their show and saying that y'all some old heads talking about old people. He compared himself to being better than Ali and Frazier and all of them. He said, hey, that's in the past. I'm right now, and I hit harder than anyone past, present, or future. I'm the hardest hitting guy. Can you show me the lie? I don't know, man. I mean, that was a straight right hand, and he didn't look like he even had all of that. It wasn't like the punch he put on, what's his name? The European guy, Artur.
Yeah.
Gosh,
It's okay.
darn it, I forgot his name. But I mean, my man's soul left him. He got hit to the the dark dimension. he got KO'd to the upside down. That's where he went. Luis Ortiz got folded in half by something that didn't look like the best punch that Deontay Wilder's ever thrown. So hard pressed to disagree.
But you know what? I think it kind of goes to what my man was saying on the last call with you and Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy called in, he was asking, and he was just kind of putting Wilder down.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel the same way, and I know it's because of his form.
Mm-hmm.
His form's just a little, it's a little dicey. Oh, we got a caller.
We got a phone call. Caller, what's going on?
You said his form, Mike. You don't have no form.
Yeah, is that Cassandra Cousineau?
But no, I mean, it's just the way that his style. You look at him. He's technique-wise, he's not the soundest looking guy. He's never going to confuse you when you just go, "Oh my God, he's Ali. He's rope-a-doping. He's coming. He's bouncing off. He's throwing the combinations. He's a big, slight man, because he's big, but he's just not George Foreman. He's not just when you look at George, you go, ooh, I can't.
George is muscle and meat.
Yeah,
that's what
and Dante just looks like a very athletic guy. Hell, he reminds me more of John Bones Jones.
Yeah, that could be, Bones or even Adesanya. But you know what? He was talking about fighting Mike Tyson. Why don't they have a reprise of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and have Deontay Wilder in it?
Well, see, I was actually kind of thinking about that.
Who would you have in that one?
But would it be the same, because would the scientists or the engineers know exactly, because Mike at the time, all we remember is where we are in the moment. The stuff we did in the past, we glorify it, but all that counts is really how it was rolling in the moment, just like Dante was really saying. Mm-hmm. And right now, Jeremy kind of said it like, until it's proven, I don't know if he doesn't hit harder than Mike Tyson. He's knocking grown men's out, but in that same breath, when I was younger, seeing what Tyson was able to put together was just amazing. You put these parties, you have to tell people on the boxing parties you need to come an hour earlier because once this fight starts, we only doing this for about 40 seconds.
So we're going to get 60 seconds of fight.
Right. So,
and that's it. Did you have people who would come to the party, right, and they would get there after the knockout and act like they didn't have to put no money on the pay-per-view? I hated those people.
Yeah, that's
come
funny.
on, man, that's funny.
That's funny.
You got a plate, they got wings in their mouth, and say, "Well, I didn't see the fight."
I didn't see the
I
fight.
didn't watch the fight, but you hear.
We gonna reenact it though.
Yeah.
All right, Cece, thanks for your call.
Well, I'm chopping onions.
Yeah, that did used to happen too. You're like, seriously, dude, seriously, like it's $5. It's $5.
Man, but I say, if you look at Deontay, I mean, he's got some spectacular knockouts. Go back and watch the second Berman Stavern fight. Okay, Berman, he put him on the ropes. My man had the audacity to get up twice from getting hit. He got hit so hard with a straight right punch. He gets up and he holds the back of his head and tells the referee, he hit me in the back of the head. That's how hard he got hit. My man got up and he turned around and looked out into the crowd and was like, oh, come on, man. Like, they didn't wait off the fight. And then Deontay runs over there, like, jumps out like he's about to cross over Iverson and just connects with a punch and puts Berman Stavern out, man. Come on, man. How hard does he hit? Pretty damn hard.
You say you know that.
I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's pretty damn hard.
All right, before we go out on this one last thing I want to throw at you, man. Oh, my damn pad went out. Of course, that's what happens. Live, damn with live radio. Your favorite guy, your favorite entertainer. I know you have it rolling in your CD right now on your iPad.
Yeah,
One Drake.
Oh, yeah.
He's trolling Joel Embiid, and this is the funnier part. It's not because of women. He's trolling Joel Embiid because he has a Toronto championship ring. Say what? Why does Drake have a championship ring?
So Drake got a special giant Toronto championship ring, and they were at a game recently. And the 76ers lost. Joel Embiid, I don't think suited up for the game. But Drake they kept showing Drake on the sidelines, hollering stuff at Joel and everything, waving his ring around like unity, like Rick James and everything like that. And I think it's so funny, man. Drake is
He's like, you didn't pick up one ball, dunk.
Bro,
you didn't even clean
a cheerleader. He's the cheerleader. He's the cheerleader girlfriend that is going to get you in fights at the pep rally.
Just talking that stuff.
Yeah.
Wearing your man's.
You know who my man is?
Wearing his Letterman jacket.
My man is Kawhi, who's down with some other team.
But we good. We still together.
You see this ring? He gave me this ring. We're going steady.
Going steady.
And Embiid played the game. He played 32 minutes.
Oh, he did play the game.
He scored 0 points.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was the.
Oh, okay, that was the game where he felt
0 points. Like, dude, you are too good not to be scoring in a NBA game.
Yeah, you should be scoring points, but to be trolled by Drake, Drake should sit down. Drake should catch a basketball to the face accidentally sometime.
On purpose.
And write a song about it.
Yeah.
I caught a ball to the face, girl.
Hey, quick one. Is Harbaugh in trouble?
That sounded nothing like Drake, by the way.
That's exactly like Drake. That's I've never heard. Drake.
Stop it. We do not tell lies. Is Harbaugh in trouble if he loses this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree.
If he loses once again to Ohio State, those backers, those old white men, they're gonna get in that room where decisions are made, and they're gonna go, you know what? I was at this whiskey and cigar roundabout, sir. And I don't know how people with money talk. And he was going to go, and my old friend from Ohio State, and he's blue cigar smoke in my face. And I did not like that one bit. And so John Harbaugh.
They probably call him James. James, come speak to us.
Jimmy Harbaugh. You got to come over here. And
hey, you guys, cut that turkey up right. If you deep frying them, don't put in a frozen turkey. That's just common sense.
Or if you do it, record it and send it to us so we'll play it on air.
That's it. MP, J Long, Quan the 5'9". Want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe, drive safely, and we'll see you guys next week. Go Blue.